Howdy, 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 everybody. Good to see you all today. What an incredible day. I feel blessed. I feel blessed to be able to hang out with as many of you are going to be here as possible. Because today's air meet, today's Zoom, or whatever you want to call this, today's meeting, it's actually going to be one of the most helpful things that you're going to be able to bring into your business, and that's liquidity, right? How do we get our hands on some money? Some money. Now, why I'm bringing this up is because I just went through a process. I went through a process with Prime Corporate. I started a new LLC, and I want to see what is it like to get my hands on some corporate credit? What is it like to get my hands on some funds that I can actually put to work in my business? Now, a lot of you that are just getting started in your real estate businesses, that are just starting this process, you're going to start to feel the pinch, right? You feel the pinch financially, you feel the pinch in time. Some of you guys are trying to juggle making pennies at your W-2 jobs, like literally just enough to buy lunch, buy dinner, and pay for childcare. And then that leaves you no time to work on your business, right? However many of you are suffering or going through that, I feel you. I understand that. I understand what is happening there. There's others of you that have time. You've made yourself available. You're maybe not working. You're learning from Pace. You're learning from me. You're learning from Brent. You're watching Wholesale Hotline. You're in the modules. You're asking questions. You might be a Sub-2 student, an Astro student, a TTP student, or just a student of YouTube University, and all of that's great. The problem is that you do need resources, limited as they may be. You do need some resources, some access to capital in order to start making deals. I'm working with people right now that are getting amazing. For instance, I had somebody send me an amazing MLS deal that they found on Privy. A deal I would have bought. Okay, this guy could have made $10,000 flipping that contract to me, and what stopped him was earnest money. He didn't have access to $1,000 to put down as an earnest deposit. That's very difficult to swallow. I'm learning from and talking to people that are trying to set up a small team of cold callers to go out there and talk to homeowners to see if they're interested in selling their house, and they can't get past a 2-week cycle of paychecks, even though the VAs are so inexpensive, maybe $300 to $350 a week. The funds are limited, and so they can't keep it going. And we know, guys, that this business takes 90 days at minimum. At minimum, sometimes you can get a deal fast, and a lot of people do. But like for the most part, if you're building a consistent business here with an actual pipeline and you're doing lead generation for it, you're going to need to have a runway. You're going to need to have a runway. And I'm really sad when I see somebody get this close to being able to make it, and then they bolt because they run out of funds, and then they get back into a W-2 situation again. $18 an hour is not going to move the needle in your life. It's just not. It's not going to get you there. So with that said, I connected with Prime Corporate Services. I opened up a new LLC, and I said, I need to test this. Before I go and bring this to my community, I need to test this. I need to see how, because the new entity had no credit. It's brand new. It's a baby. It's like a fresh baby, right? You can't, who's going to give a credit card to a baby, right? So that was my concern. Brand new LLC. I don't want to be personally responsible. Okay. I don't want this to affect my personal life. If my entrepreneurial journey goes sideways and I get hit by a car, I don't want people to come into my personal bank account and raid my wife of her funds because I went and did something and tried to start my entrepreneurial journey. I don't want that liability. I want to be able to separate it, right? I want to be able to separate it so I can take risk. I don't want to risk my personal life. I don't want to risk my house. I don't want to risk the equity in my life. I want to create an LLC. I want to establish working capital in that LLC. And then I want to take risks with that, right? I want to take risks with that because that LLC is like anything else. If I run into trouble, if I get into a situation, I have so much protection because I had that LLC, right? And because I was able to use funds that were obtained in that LLC through that corporate credit pathway, I'm not personally liable. And so, guys, there's just so many opportunities for us, for you guys to be able to get out there and build your businesses, expand what you're doing, do more lead generation, get more opportunities, get in front of more people, talk to more people, hire staff, build teams, have access to the liquidity necessary to do that. But you can't do that if you are counting pennies. If you don't have enough money for cash flow, you're screwed. And that's why I'm so passionate about this subject, because I've been there. When I first started wholesaling in Phoenix, Arizona, I didn't even have money to pay for a prescription for my wife. Like, that's how broke I was. And that was difficult. I needed money for earnest money. I had to go ask people. I had to bring people into my business and give away 50% of a deal or more sometimes, just so somebody would write me an EMD check. Right? Think about that. I lose all the leverage. I lose all the leverage because I have to go to somebody and say, hey, can you write a $500 or $1,000 EMD check for me? Can you write this for me? And they'll say, sure, but I'm going to take the contract. And then what? I lose control of that contract. Now, all of a sudden, we're in a deal and I have no control, and I'm going to take whatever they're going to give me. Now, of course, when you're working with a Keegley or a great company like that, they're going to be fair. But I want you guys to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. I want you to be able to, if you get access to a great deal, I need you to be able to go write the check, to send the money, to lock that up so that you can actually take a step towards the goal. The goal is completing your first transaction if you haven't done it yet. The goal is building a business if you've already completed your first transaction or many transactions, but it's still choppy. If you're still in that state where you get, you close 3 deals this month and no deals next month, that's great, but it's not consistency and you can't bank on that, right? You can't, you might make 40K this month. You think you're rich, and then next month you got nothing, right? So you need access to liquidity. You need access to cash flow so that you can do this in a systematic way. And so, without further ado, let's bring on Emily first to say hi.
You really threw me for a loop there.
Yeah, I know. I knew that you were going to put Tommy on, but I was like, hold on, everybody wants to see Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi, beautiful people.
How are you today?
I'm so good. How are you?
Can everybody just give some love to Emily, because she's incredible and she's so helpful to our community. She's legit. For those of you that don't know, she's on Straight Outta Compton with me, and we do that every Sunday. Well, we try to do it every Sunday unless I'm traveling. But she does that just because she cares. She's got other things to do on a Sunday, but instead she shows up and works with all of us and our community. And also behind the scenes, guys, she's setting up these opportunities with Prime Corporate Services. She's booking Tommy. She's making sure that Tommy has the time. She's doing so much for this community behind the scenes. And I just want to give you gratitude for that, because you're a special sister to us and we all love you very much.
Thank you, Jamil. I love you too. And I love all of you so much.
Yay.
Emily texted me 84 times to make sure I wasn't late. It was terribly impressive. And if she texted me 83, I would have been late. So she knows exactly what it takes to balance that out.
There will be a replay on this, guys. So if any of you are wanting to get the replay, Emily will email it out to everybody that registered. So don't worry about that. Tommy.
Jamil.
How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you doing? Happy Friday.
I'm incredible. I'm blessed, and I'm so happy that you got me that $15,000, bro. I'm like, first and foremost, I'm just a little shocked at how fast and easy that was. Of course, we had some work to do in the front end to kind of get us there, but tell us a little bit about why this is such an incredible way for people to really get themselves going if they're struggling to find resources to get their businesses off the ground.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I always love talking to the community and just making sure that everyone knows what their options are. I feel like that's half the battle, is you don't know until you do it. And that $15,000, happens quick, but as you know, once you have the first one, then it's so much easier to grow and expand and build that to 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 and get multiple additional credit lines as you go. Like to hear these earnest money stories, I was laughing so hard. Scott, I believe it was you, Scott. He was like, I feel like Jamil's reading my journal about not having money for earnest money.
It's not that, it's just that I've been there.
For sure.
I've been in the spot and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have EMD. Now I'm screwed. Well, now I got to go and basically sell my deal off at pennies on the dollar just so I can structure it. And I lose full control.
What you got to love about Jamil, everybody, is once you create all the success that you have at this point, Jamil, a lot of people forget where you came from. A lot of people forget what it took to get it off the ground. To hear you talk about the prescription story and all those other things, it's like there's people going through that. For you now, looking back on it, how dumb is it to lose deals over $1,000, over $2,000, $5,000? It's like it's insane to look back on.
It is, and let me tell you, I want to share with everybody here. This is a little peek into my life. So when I first got started, I had one condo here in Arizona, and I was able to like string together money to buy it and whatnot. But I needed to go do deals, right? So I was doing the thing I was talking about earlier, where I'd bring in a JV partner and I would they put up the EMD and then we would wholesale. But this JV partner I had, he'd only ever let me make like a few $1,000s on a deal. I would then go and see him make like $60,000, $70,000 re-wholesaling it to somebody else. And I'm like, man, I suck. I suck so bad because I don't have the $1,000 earnest deposit, because I don't have access to that money. This guy is going out and making 60x what I'm getting because I don't have access to those funds. So that's terrible. But how I solved it was the worst way. So what I did is I went and got a hard money loan against the property that I had. Now that hard money loan cost me a loan origination fee, cost me points, cost me like crazy interest every single month. And I again lost in the leverage I had in that property. So it was like I had credit, but I went to the most expensive credit I could possibly get, borrowing against my property, right? And so then when I wanted to pay it down, there was prepayment penalties and all the things that I had to go through. So it was really the worst decision. If I had known you back then, if you had just found me or I had found you in 2012, Tommy, I would have been in a completely different situation. I probably would have gotten my business off the ground way faster.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's right now, especially one thing that I like to help people understand as well is when things change in the world. I mean, with the Russia-Ukraine stuff, with the COVID stuff, like banks naturally are going to change what they're willing to lend to. So right now, between the personal and the business, we're getting a lot of the clients are within this community. I see a lot of people shouting out David, and I appreciate everyone on this chat as well. But some of you are some of this statistic. We are getting over $2 million a month, every month, 2 million new dollars every month in business credit for all of our clients combined. But a lot of them are within this community right now. Like there's a lot of money that banks are willing to lend to business owners that have established the line of credit the right way to now be able to manage their cash flow, be able to expand, be able to market, be able to pay for dialers or softwares. Like the ability to grow your business is going to cost money. It's better to have business credit and not need it than not have it and always need it. And that's kind of the position that people find themselves in.
100%. So Tommy, how does it work?
I think the first thing that you have to do is make sure you have a business entity, right? Everyone, it's a lot of people have seen me within this community and between everything else. And it's the first thing I will always preach. Please set up an entity, have an LLC, have an S corporation if you're making money. Don't kill yourself from a tax standpoint, but that is the first step. Make sure you have a business entity in place. If you don't, still schedule on that Jamil link at the top, and we'll help you with an entity. But once you have that business entity, now we want to go teach banks and teach lenders that you are a business, even if you haven't made a dollar, right? Getting Jamil 15,000 quick, very easy. He makes money. But if you don't make money, that's okay. There's still ways to prove to banks that you have an excellent business model, you have a plan of attack, and it's going to take a little bit of time to prove that to them, right? It's going to take a couple months, maybe a month or two, to make sure the bank knows you're legitimate if you're not making any money. But if you're not making any money, a couple months from now and planning into the future to have the money then is a lot better than just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, hoping that you come up with that earnest money in the meantime.
100%. It's like I've seen so many people stop themselves from taking action because they're like, okay, well, why should I, if I call this realtor and I get this deal under contract, then what?
Yep.
Then what do I do? If I work with this homeowner and I get this deal under contract, then what? Now what do I do? Now all of a sudden I got to put up earnest money. Like now what? You know, and it's that now what? It's that what's next part that's like killing people. And so, yes, love it. So set up an entity first and foremost, and then next.
I mean, talk to us. Let's see where you're at. Let's see where your business is, right? Obviously, in order to build business credit, it's something that we want to walk you through. I think part of the reason that you're able to get that credit as quickly as you did is you went to the right lender, right? We understood who to help you go to make sure you got an instant approval. Because if you go out and you just apply for business credit all over the place, if it's not on a separate credit profile with your business and you get denied, now you're hurting your personal credit. But if you're going to do it right so you can apply with the business and it's not tied and personally guaranteed to you, to your social security number.
Right.
Let's have it with the business. Let's have it with the EIN, and let's have it with the actual Paydex profile. That way, once you go get business credit, now we have 0% interest rates for 12 months, 18 months, 24 months.
And I mean, that's the key, right? If you can get us into a situation, guys, just so you know, I'm at 0% interest for the first year. So I got 0% interest for the first 12 months. And that just basically means I get to go and use that and I'm not paying for it. I imagine what I can parlay that 15 grand into exponentially and not have a cost of dollar. I'm like, it's free money. Now, of course, I have to earn money and I have to replace that. I got to make that payment, but I'm not paying interest on it, which is the key.
And if it takes more than 30 days to get the deal done, you got a $25 payment.
Right.
You got a $30 payment, whatever that small, it's a very, very minimal payment. But if you build business credit, use business credit, once you get paid, pay the business back, and then pay yourself from there. Think how organized you're keeping yourself from a tax standpoint as well. So Jamil's going to get the reward points on the credit card. He has the capital to do the deal with the 15,000, gets the reward points, whether it's in the form of cash back, airline miles, whatever else, then pays that back and then writes it off in full because it's all 100% business related. It's with the business card. So there's no questions. You have an alibi that you did it for the business, and then you pay yourself from there. You win every which way. Like I haven't paid for an airplane ticket in 10 years, and it's all because of the points, right? It's the same concept. Make money in every fashion that you can, but this is a way where you can have the capital to be able to do that and make sure you're still writing it off at the end of the year as well.
So here's something that's been a tremendous problem for me in my world is that I was using my debit card all the time. Anytime I'd go buy something, right? Or I'd go fill up gas, I'm using my debit card. I go pay a bill, I use my debit card. I go have a business dinner, I'm using my debit card. I go and buy something for the business, I'm using my debit card. Everything is coming on my debit card. Right now, all of a sudden it's like, hey, Jamil, what are your expenses for your business? I'm like, I don't know. Everything's on my debit card. So now I got to go through and I got to itemize everything: personal business, personal business, personal business, personal business, personal business. And truly, I'm getting no points for it. all the money I'm spending, I'm getting no benefit for it. And then secondly, I'm having to go and reorganize all of my expenses so that I can actually write that stuff off. You guys know how much money I've spent on my business that I've missed being able to write off because I'm not organizing it in my business credit card? Like, just for that purpose, just for the purpose of keeping all of the expenses filed in one spot, in one place, so that you can get the benefit of the tax write-off, that's one of the things that having that business credit card solves.
Yep. I mean, just from a business credibility standpoint, to build up those larger lines of credit, allow yourself to expand, manage your cash flow, pay for the everyday, day-to-day type expenses. Like, for the long-term growth, if you are spending the time watching this video, you are serious about being an investor. That's clear. That's clear as day,
Yep.
right? If you're watching this, if you're taking the time out of your busy schedule to learn how to get capital to build a business, why wouldn't you set yourself up for long-term success? And by doing that, even if it takes a month or 2 months or 3 months, I don't care if you have no credit, bad credit, great credit. You don't want to use your personal credit, right? My personal credit has to stay high. I don't want to jeopardize anything to do for my wife, my kid. My business credit, I'm okay with that looking like a roller coaster because that means I'm making money. I'm going to lend against my business. If you have $1 million in your checking account or $1 in your checking account, I'm using business credit. I'm not using my own money. Then I'm going to make money. I'm going to pay this debt back where my business credit's going to go back up.
Right.
And then I'm going to pay myself from there. All in the meantime, I don't have to mess with my personal credit. Family secured, liabilities separated, organized from a tax standpoint. It's the wealthy and it's the rich that do things like that to continue to compound their wealth. But you don't have to be wealthy to get credit. There's ways that you can do it if you're broke, if you have terrible credit, if you're just getting started.
Makes sense. So, Tommy, I'm seeing this. People are saying I've got my LLC set up. I've got an EIN number. I've got a business bank account, and I have no money. So does this solve that? Would this fund their business so that they can go out there and actually have resources to go do some shit?
If you don't have money now, you're not going to have money in a month. If you don't have money now, you're not going to have money in 2 months. If you don't have money now, you're not going to have money in 3 months unless you make a change. You have to do something different. If you build business credit, there are so many successful people that built their business and made their start off of credit or off of debt, right? There's good debt and there's bad debt. We've all heard the comparisons. If you're using debt to make money, it's good debt, right? I will pay 50% interest if I have a 60% return. I'm still making 10%, right?
Right.
So weigh those pros and cons of if you're taking the steps to build business credit, you still have to put in the time, the work, the energy, the effort, because now you have some debt load. But if you have debt load at 0%, you're still mitigating your risk to allow yourself the ability to go generate some actual income.
Awesome. I know you've got a small little presentation, Tommy, and we're going to get to that in a second, but I want to ask one more thing. So I'm seeing some of you guys have found deals, okay? And you're like, Jamil, I want to just wholesale this. I want to be able to take this down. I want to buy this property. I want to take it down. And some of you guys are in markets where you can buy a house for like 10 grand, 20 grand. Or if you had 10 or 20 grand, you could put it down as a down payment and go get a hard money loan and close it and then wholesale it on the MLS. And people are getting 10 or 20 times what they'd be able to get at an assignment fee just by wholesaling their deal. If you guys aren't familiar with what a wholesale is, that's when you find a wholesale deal and you close it and put it on the MLS and sell it for way more money than you would have been able to get selling it to a rehabber prior to closing on it. It's an extremely intelligent way to maximize your profitability in a wholesale space, especially given the fact that we have no inventory right now in the market. So you can really churn those deals, But again, you need access to capital, and you could get access to capital through these means. So again, we've got 400 people near on this. And we haven't, I mean, we're not losing anybody. Guys, let me just point out, once Tommy's done talking, everybody's going to be clicking on that link up there, primecorporateservices.com/Jamil. They're going to click on it, and you're going to go into a queue. And guess what? The longer you wait to click on it and sign up, the lower down your name goes into the queue, and the longer it takes for them to get to you, and the more time goes by before you actually get to make this thing happen. So don't wait for Tommy to be done. Click on it, sign up, register, do the things. Tommy, take it away.
I love it. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Here's another thing that I'll say to that before I share these screens here is like, no one knows what's going to happen with the economy, with the market, but I think everyone here knows it's pretty insane right now, right? I'm in Utah, 1 bed, 1 bath in the middle of nowhere is like 800 grand. It's absolutely insane. But now's the time to prepare. Something has to give. I don't know if that happens in a month, a year, a decade, but what I will tell you is you're better off being in a position where you take the time to build business credit and corporate funding when the market is amazing, because at some point the market is not going to be amazing. And if you take those steps now, you're going to be in a much better position when that starts rolling around. And there's some deals out there, and there's more margins. So there's my 2 cents. That is not financial advice. I am not predicting the economy, but I am predicting this can't last forever.
So somebody's saying, hey man, I stopped working after a while because of, didn't have access to funds. Now his LLC is inactive. Are they able to reactivate their LLC and get corporate credit in it?
For sure. That's easy. We just got to, it might be less expensive. We've got such a discounted deal if you come through with Jamil that it may be less expensive to set up a new one, to be honest. But if it isn't, we can look at that and see what it is to reinstate it. Can you see this slide, Jamil?
No, I cannot.
Here, let me see if I can, hold on here. I might have to I'll share my whole screen. I just want to go to these slides I want to give everyone a visual here of what is doable. All right, what if I share nope, it won't let me share my entire screen for some reason.
Emily, can you help us?
Emily, help.
He can't share his screen.
So you click the little arrow at the bottom, present to audience.
Select PDF or share screen.
Share screen.
The share is blacked out on me. Oh, there we go. I just have to click it. You have to be smarter than the computer. How's that? Does that work? Or do you not see it?
Still don't see it.
Not seeing it.
It's all right. Let me just explain it. It's pretty simple here as well. So the visual that I have that I wanted to show you here is everyone personally has a legal name, a social security number, and a credit score.
Can you make him host? Can you make him the host? Emily, maybe that'll help.
I would have to do it on the back end.
I think so, because it shows on here that I can share it, but when I click it and I click share, it just won't let me.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tommy. We'll just let you talk through it.
No big deal. It's all good. Okay, so the on the personal level, you have the 350 to the 850 credit profile, right? So what we want to be able to do is you want to do the same thing for the business. Everyone has a business name. If you don't, get a business name. Everyone has an EIN number. If you don't, please get an EIN number. Everyone has a Paydex score, right? And there's probably only a select few of you that have that Paydex profile. Those of you that are already working with us probably already have that Paydex profile, right? If you are working with us and you don't, email your contacts, see what it's going to take to make that happen. Okay. Once you build the Paydex score is very similar to your FICO score, but it's different in the range. Your business credit profile ranges from 1 to 100. Seems easier, right? Personal credit, 350 to 850, super confusing, try and ruin your life, hard to build your credit, easy to ruin it. We all know that story, right? The business credit is the same, but it ranges from 1 to 100. 80 to 85 would be like you having a 750 to an 800. Okay? 80 to 85 is the goal. Why do we want to build up that credit profile? Then you can reach out to banks. Then you can reach out to lenders. And you can say, here's my business name. Here's my EIN. Here's my Paydex. Steven says better terms. Absolutely. There's lower interest rates. There's 0% for 12 months, 15 months, 18 months, 24 months. Use the business credit like we talked about earlier and have it on the lower rate. Okay? That way you're not impacting your personal credit when you make those investments as well. Okay? Even we work with a lot of people. I've got a lot of clients that have entered into some of the short-term rental business, arbitrage, B&B. I had one client that I spoke with yesterday that I believe was initially part of this community. But anyway, started getting into the arbitrage business. Ended up building enough business credit to get 2 additional properties, fund everything on 0%, furniture, first 2 months rent, everything that he needed to be able to fund his business for the first 6 months at 0%. Every dollar he made with his arbitrage business for the first 2 months, he paid back to that business credit card, but it was at 0%. Doesn't matter. All he had to do is pay a minimal payment so he didn't ruin his Paydex score. At 3 months, he cash flows and doesn't have the 0% interest. Still has 0% for another 8 months. He can go do it again and still do another 2 properties, still have another 8 months of cushion. And now you got 4 arbitrage properties. And by the end of that 12 months at 0%, he potentially has 4 cash flowing properties, right? Smart guy, understood how to leverage it, did all of his research, but now what does he do? Everything that he paid on the 0%, he's getting his airline miles. Everything that he paid on the 0%, he's writing off 100% on his taxes. And he didn't spend any money out of pocket. Like it's an absolute no-brainer for any entrepreneur, any investor, any industry. But real estate, it really starts to make sense because you buy yourself time and you make sure you have the money when deals come across your table, right? Down markets, up markets, it doesn't matter what the economy looks like. You have the ability to know what your margin is and if it's worth it for you to come out of pocket or to use business credit, right? So that's the visual that I wanted to show you is draw a line in the sand, okay? Draw a hard line for yourself and always tell yourself personal is personal, business is business, right? If you go to a bank and you say, I heard Tommy talk, I want a business credit card. They're going to say, great. What's your business name? What's your EIN? What's your social security number? If they ask for your social, it is a personal credit extension. It is still personally signed and guaranteed to you. If you're going to do it the right way. Build up that Paydex profile. Take the 2 or 3 months that it takes to build a credit profile to where you can build business credit long term.
Amazing. And so, Tommy, there's a ton of questions here, a ton of questions from people. So I want to, I'd like to open this up because, there's people there, one of them here. Yeah, we'll send you guys the slides. after this. But how long does it take to get to an 80 to 85 score?
Usually it's going to take about 3 months. I think three months is the average. We tell people 3 to 6 months to try and under promise, over deliver, but the average is going to be around 3 months to have a good enough profile to get some actual business credit.
If somebody's got an established LLC, is it easier to get business credit, or is this only good for new businesses?
If you are making money with your business, it is going to be easier to get larger lines of credit. Absolutely. So, but that's not to say that if you have a brand new LLC and aren't making money that you can't do it. It's just you're probably going to get some smaller credit lines, which is okay. It's better than nothing if you don't have them anyway.
Right. So those smaller credit lines, when it's a fresh baby company, what do those typically look like?
Usually we see a ton of $5,000 smaller end limits. We see some $1,000 limits. But also, I mean, I came with these to this just within this community in the last week. We've got $15,000, $20,000 lines of credit, $21,000, $24,000, $25,000, $35,000. We've got a ton of $5,000 credit lines, a lot of $1,000 credit lines. But a lot of times, once we get to that 3 to 6 month mark, the reason we see so many 5,000, so many thousands is if one bank's going to give you 5, another bank will give you 5. So if we can get you 2.5, you got 10,000 total. We don't want to limit or pigeonhole yourself either. But some banks are more willing to lend to real estate investors. Some only want to lend to subways or storefronts, right? So what's amazing about our business credit team, those of you that have worked with them, you know, they've worked at the University of New York. They taught classes at the University of San Francisco. One of them in particular has been in the banking industry for 30 years. So they understand, they have the relationships with banks and lenders, and we want to put you in front of them to help you make sure that you have the highest chance of approval.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, what other things, we mentioned this a little bit before, but like what other things are valuable for them to use business credit on? Like what, if you were new,
so for me,
if you had it.
Yeah, if you're brand new, right? So in my model specifically for Astro Flippers, I'm gonna break this down. Astro Flippers, sub 2 students, TTP, because I know we've got a big mix of people that do different types of lead gen. For me, for instance, if you're working in Astro Flipping and you're doing agent outreach is one of my most lucrative lead generation techniques because we're going directly to agent and we're getting deals direct to seller, but an agent's in the middle there, right? So it's awesome. That agent's the person who's built rapport with the seller, so I don't have to worry about cold calling people and getting hung up on. I'm actually working with a real estate professional who's giving me this deal. And that's the majority of our business comes from agent outreach at Keegley and all the Astro Flippers that I train. That's what we typically do. Here's the problem. When you do those deals, they require, so I give a proof of funds to all my students. The link is up. And even if you're a sub 2 student or a TTP student, we are happy to give you guys a proof of funds as well. The link, Emily put a link up there. She pinned a link on, or she pinned the email address. I think it's flipfundllc@gmail.com. If you need a proof of funds, guys, we got your back. Emily, if you can just put that email in the chat, do that. But okay, so now you got a proof of funds. So your agent wants to work with you, but then they say, earnest money is going to be $1,000. And now all of a sudden now you got a proof of funds for $500,000, but you don't have $1,000 to put down EMD. And you got a great deal in front of you. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. So you need to have access to that earnest money first and foremost. Second, let's just say you got to hire a property inspector, right? Because you notice that the house is in a little bit worse condition than you might have been disclosed to, and there's an opportunity for you to retrade on the deal and get a significant discount on the property. Property inspection is going to cost you $200. People don't have it, so they don't get the inspection. That inspection might have been able to give them an additional $15,000 or $20,000 in additional value on that deal. They don't do it because they don't have access to just that little amount of money to get them across the line, right? So they miss out on that. The next thing, networking events, filling up gas just to go out and meet people. Like they're paralyzed, they're stuck because they don't have just the resources to get across the line. Or you're learning everything you need to learn, but you are in a non-disclosure state and you can't comp properties on Zillow. You have to use a service like Batch Leads or PropStream, and that's $100 a month. Now, you don't even have the $100 a month right now to pay it, so you cancel your batch, and now all of a sudden you can't comp deals. And if you can't comp deals, what are you doing? Right? You need to have access to these things. Now, if you have a Batch Leads profile, you say you're paying $100, but they give you 5,000 free property records every single month. And I talk about these niche lists that I like to go after, like the empty nester list. That's when you go after homeowners that are 40 years old or older that live in a property that's 2,000 square feet or greater and has stairs or has more than 3 bedrooms. Now, why is that such a huge, powerful list? Well, because we're talking about people where their children have left the house. Now they live in a house that's too big for them. And sometimes they get mobility issues at a higher age. And so they can't even go up and down those 2-story stairs. So the likelihood of them selling that property is much higher than a brand new family that's just moved into their suburban home, right? So I like to target real niche properties. But let's just say you got that 5,000 free property records from Batch. You use my empty nester list filter to get that down to, say, 3,000 properties, and that's going to cost you $300. So for $300, you're not going to make those calls because you didn't have access to that business credit. Now, guys, some people are buying it, but they're using their personal money to do all this stuff. That's a problem. Because if you're using your personal money to do all this stuff, you're not writing it off. You're not treating it as a business expense. Then when comes time to pay taxes, you're going to pay taxes on that as income, even though you used it in your business. Right? And so there's this lack of organization that people are putting themselves through because they haven't structured their life in such a way where they can actually delineate what is personal versus what is business. Or they're so tight in their personal finances that they don't have just a little bit of extra room so that they can go build a business up. Now, for instance, let's just say you're a sub-2 student. You're a sub-2 student. You found yourself a great deal. You've got all the things that you need, but you might need to pay down. Say you need to make a $5,000 payment to the seller in order to get this deal done. Or you got to take care of a bill for a seller. Or you got to do something in order to get the seller to agree to doing this creative deal with you. Now, you don't have access to that money. So what sometimes the sub-2 students will do is they'll assign it out. They'll assign it out. They might make a couple thousand, $5,000, $10,000 assignment fee, and that's great. But you're missing the opportunity to make $2,000 or $3,000 a month in cash flow because you had to give away that deal. And you had to give away that deal because you didn't have the little bit amount of money it took you to get into the deal. Let's say you're a TTP student and you're out there driving for dollars, right? Talking to people, knocking on doors, having quality conversations with motivated homeowners. But you don't have enough funds to do that every day. And gas is like $5 a gallon right now. It's not cheap. Driving for dollars is becoming one of the more expensive ways to get out there and actually lead generate. But it's effective as you could possibly get. Because people who are door knocking, they door knock pre-foreclosures typically, right? And so you can't get a list that's going to allow you to easily drive around your town in a gas efficient way, because pre-foreclosures are going to be all over the friggin' city. They're going to be everywhere. So you're driving all around and that's going to burn up gas. But those people need your help right now. Right now. Imagine if you were able to go knock on a door, someone's in pre-foreclosure, and you said, "Hi, I want to do this deal with you." But honestly, all that they really need right now is dinner. Dinner. They're in a bad spot. They're losing their house to foreclosure. They don't even have money to feed themselves. Can you imagine if you could run down the street and go grab a bite, come back and have a conversation with that person and actually connect with them because you were able to have enough funds in your business to write off buying them a meal. Think about that, right?
I love that.
Think about the different ways that you can leverage and access this capital to help you grow the thing that you're trying to do. That's the thing I'm trying to get people to think about here, is that you're going 90% of the way, sometimes 95% of the way. You're going so far, and then you get this far away from actually succeeding, and one small thing stops you from doing it. One small thing, not having access to EMD, not having access to gas money, not having access, or say you're doing virtual wholesaling and you need somebody to go and open a door for you, and somebody wants to charge you $100 on Upworks or TaskRabbit to go and do a showing for you. You don't even have that. Guys, you need access to some liquidity in order to make this work. Doesn't need to be hundreds of thousands. Doesn't even need to be tens of thousands. Sometimes $5,000 will get you everything you need to get to the next stage. Sometimes that's just $1,000. But the fact is unless you go out there and you start building your business credit, unless you go out there and establish yourself as a real thing, a real entity, a real working entity, you're not signaling to the universe that you're serious. You're not.
Jamil, let me ask you this as well. I absolutely love that. I agree with every point that you just made. One thing that I've also noticed as well, like Prime Corporate Services, we've been in business for 10 years, right? And when it first started, the difference of investing all the money back into the business, like even when you're making great money, a lot of what we've talked about is, what if you don't have the $1,000? What if you do have access to $100,000 in your checking account right now, but a deal gets brought to you that's $200,000? Just like that, you're broke again. There's levels to this stuff, right? So what I love about the reason that Jamil is able to be as confident as he is in talking about this stuff is he has the money if a deal comes to him, right? If someone needs 100 grand for a deal today, or if someone needs 200 grand for a deal today, if the margin's there and Jamil's going to make money on it, he's going to jump on it.
Guys,
right?
Look, I can't make this stuff up, right? Like I'm actually going into my email right now. Look, this is me buying a deal from my company. Okay. I'm in my LLC that you set up for me, Jamil Damji LLC. I'm buying a deal from my company. Okay. I'm buying a 32 unit multifamily deal from Keegley. Keegley found the deal. I'm buying it. Guys, look how much my earnest deposit is. Hold on. I don't know if we can see this, or if it'll focus right. Can you see that?
50 G's.
That's my EMD. That's my EMD. Look at what the purchase price is going to be. I don't know if you can see it.
I think I saw 3 something.
$3.3 million. Anyways, $3.3 million purchase. I'm buying from my own company today. I'm going to buy that from my own company today. And facts are, guys, I'm going to try to use as much business credit as possible to fund that entire deal. All the renovations, as much of the renovations as I can put on it, I'm going to be funding through my 0% interest credit. As much of that as possible. This building that I'm buying for 3.3 right now, it's worth $6 million once it's been fixed and fully leased. And I'm going to get that done in 8 months. In 8 months, I'm going to renovate, I'm going to lease up, and then I'm going to flip that thing in before 12-month period is over, and I'm going to make a couple $1 million after all my expenses. And I'm going to do it all on business credit. Guys, like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff you can do if you have access to building your credit. You can now. You're not going to get this now. Yeah, I can get that done in 8 months. It's 32 units. I can get it done in 8 months like that. But like, here's the thing. I had to build myself up. I had to get myself up to a spot where I can actually do this entire deal on credit. I don't want to have to put money out of my. And guys, again, look, I'm doing this in LLC. If the world explodes tomorrow, it's my company that suffers, not me personally. I can unravel that. I can unravel this situation. I'm not worried about somebody coming and taking my house. Like, for those of you that aren't aware of my personal story, but I bankrupted my entire family. I bankrupted my sister, my mom, my dad, myself, my brother-in-law. All of us, we lost all of our homes. We all had to move into a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. All of us, including my 150-pound dog and my cat. Okay? Because I bankrupted all of us because I was doing all of my stuff in my personal name. And I had my parents co-sign in their personal names. So when the bank came and got it, the bank came and took all our shit. Here's a part of that story that nobody knows. Okay? So that was me personally. However, I owned one condominium in a company name. Outright. I own that condominium in my company outright. Guess what I still have? I still have that condo. And it was because it was protected. Nobody could touch it. No, and that condo today is worth like 400 grand.
So cool.
400 grand while I was going through like all the worst parts of my life. Like, everything was exploding. I was losing everything. They took my house. They took my cars. They took my mom's house. They took her car. They took my brother-in-law's shit. They took my sister's shit. We were done. But nobody could touch the condo. It was its own thing. That's magical stuff. This is why this stuff is so important. This is why you got to do this. Protect yourself. Do this with intention. You do this with intention, because if you don't, you can get out there, you can misstep, and you can fuck up. Excuse my language, but and it hurts when you do. It'll kill you when you do. Don't let that happen. And please don't let yourself get into a spot in business where you get so close. You learn all these things. You learn all this technique. You learn you learn how to talk to a seller like Pace talks to a seller, right? Like, guys, you get that far, and now you don't have the EMD. Now you can't just get it across the line. This is terrible. This is terrible. A lot of you guys have already worked with PCS, and that's great. But a lot of you haven't even talked about corporate credit because Pace and I haven't really been able to talk about it. But we've worked it out with PCS where we've cleared out whatever we had to clear out of the way, because, like, legit, guys, this is what you need. If you are failing at making your payments, if you are failing at being able to put up EMD, if you're failing when an agent asks you for an earnest deposit, if you don't have the option fee in Texas, if you're in Texas markets, sometimes they require a $100 option fee to go lock up a great deal. That $100 option fee could take you to the next spot. The $100, you don't got it. That's like not acceptable. And not in a way that should make you feel bad, in a way that should make you take action. Like, do it.
Do it.
Freaking do it. So I'm sorry I get so worked up about this stuff, but it's just like I sometimes the solution is just so clear. It's right underneath our nose, and we don't do the thing.
And even if you have all the money, like we said, do it and put yourself in a position to do more deals, do larger deals. There's the confidence when you mention Pace talking to sellers, and when you tell your story and share your story, the confidence is there because you've done it, you've gone through it, you've experienced it, but the money's there. Even if it's more money than you're willing to risk, you now have surrounded yourself with people. You now have surrounded yourself with other individuals that are so like-minded. You can get the money. There's no amount of money that you can't go get at this point with your network, just because of who you are, the confidence you're able to speak with. And it doesn't happen overnight. The stories that you're able to share, I didn't even know that about your family. That's such a powerful story, and the condominium's still there. right?
Still
It's
there,
like
bro.
it's
And
like
and
the
like
silver
guys,
lining.
anybody wants to test me on it, the address is 525 22nd Avenue, Southwest, Calgary, Alberta, Unit 103. Look at the history of that condo. 525 22nd Avenue, Unit 103, Calgary, Alberta. Look at the history of that condo. I got kicked in the nuts in Canada. I lost everything except that condo.
So cool. That's amazing. Hey, a lot of people are asking if you're already working with us, should they schedule? If you're already working with us, just let them know that you watch this webinar and email your contact. If you're already working with one of our advisors, corporate advisor, tax advisor, it doesn't matter. If you're already working with us, skip the line to schedule that appointment, email your contact, tell them you were watching Tommy and Jamil and you want to build some business credit. If you've never worked with Prime, you need an entity set up, you want to build business credit, go ahead and schedule on that Jamil link. But if you're already with us, please feel free to just email your contact.
Awesome. Awesome. Tommy, I want to just lastly speak on for those of you guys out there right now that might be just suffering with some analysis paralysis, right? Just like, okay, there's so many things to do here. There's so many parts, moving parts to my success. And this can also become a difficult part, right? Because you're like, okay, I'm learning comping. I'm learning lead generation. Now I've got leads, I've got houses, and now I know how to value them. Awesome. But it's these next steps. It's these next places, these next things that I got to do. Sometimes all it takes is making a post and saying, "Hey, I want to buy lunch. I want to buy lunch for somebody in this community to work with me to help me do the thing that I'm going to do." Okay? And some of you don't even have the money to take somebody out for lunch. Some of you don't even have that. Guys, like, this is what I'm talking about. Don't let the little bits stop you from networking, from having the conversations, from creating the relationships, from making the connections. Don't do that.
And business meals are 100% deductible this year on top of it. Use business credit, get the knowledge, write off the business meal. Everything's coming back full circle. The meal's probably paid for by the end of the day.
I mean, truly though, right? They always are. And I'm constantly investing. So I just put another $25,000 down on a credit card for a mastermind. But the beauty of it is that $25,000 that I'm going to pay on that card, I got so many points. I get such a benefit. Tommy, one last thing: is the credit that you get people into? Does there other benefits like points or travel or other things that they can leverage so that they can also get more leverage out of their business credit?
100%. I hate debit. I hate cash. I hate spending money unless there's some sort of a reward around it. And we have built it the same way. Airline miles, cashback rewards. Absolutely, we want to maximize in every area.
Okay, guys, we've got Tommy for a few more minutes. If you guys have a question, please put it in the chat right now. Otherwise, we're gonna let him go. There's 400 of you here. The link to sign up for the appointment is pinned. Emily pinned it up. Sign up, guys. Don't let time go by, because you'll just get lower and lower and lower down the line, and it's gonna take forever then, and that's not gonna help you. Any questions for Tommy? Please put them in the chat right now. And we'll get to it. Tommy, is there a huge investment in doing this?
No, there's not a huge investment in doing this. I mean, it is going to cost you if we go through for the full year and obviously help you understand how to build and grow it. But one other thing that I want you to know, there's a lot of people in this community that have multiple entities, right? You have a holding company out of Wyoming, Nevada, or Delaware, and then you have a subsidiary where you're doing business to give yourself the additional protection. I want to teach you how to build that business credit off of the holding company, get the largest credit line possible. So if you have multiple businesses down the road, you can lend to those businesses and pay it back. I know that's a little bit more advanced, but it will cost you a little bit in order to go through that full year to actually build business credit.
Can this work for a nonprofit?
You can build business credit off of nonprofits, yes. Usually we focus on for-profit. We have more experience in for-profit, but it is doable.
How do I get my current score?
Nav.com, NAV.com. Throw the chat. You'll enter your business name and your EIN. Another thing is there's people in here, I know it, that think that they have business credit. And if you pull up your personal credit history, it shows that business credit card on your personal credit history. That is not business credit. It is a personal credit extension. We want to separate them. We want the liability separated. Know that there is a huge difference as far as that's concerned as well.
So the cost, is it case by case depending on the how new somebody's business is and what's like to get started? Because I keep getting this question in here. Is there a price? But I know that it fluctuates. So can you kind of give us a little bit more on what would bring the price down or what could bring the price up to do this?
Yeah,
there's people quoting numbers in here, and guys, it's not for everybody. Some people it's going to be one number, some other people it's going to be another number. It just depends on your profile. But can you speak to that?
Depending on how long we work with you and how many sessions you get, it could be $1,000 to $4,000. A lot of companies will charge $6,000 for a full year. What I'll do is I'll keep it around. I'll tell my team we'll keep it around $2,000 for the entire year, and still allow you to build and develop business credit. Jamil, we could talk more about this, and I'll talk to my team. I'll try and keep it around that $2,000 mark and still give everyone a full year to be able to build up that business credit and have the guidance, have a contact point to know what banks, what lenders to actually reach out to.
And guys, I worked out a deal with Tommy. There's a few of you that I'm going to actually front the upfront costs for. So Tommy, randomly, if you wouldn't mind, for everybody that clicks and starts this up, 3 of the people that sign up with you, I'm going to front their upfront cost.
Cool. I will. I'll send you those. We'll treat it like a little bit of a lottery. We'll pick 3 people that we're going to do it for $0. We'll do it totally free. Pick 3 of them.
And that's just, guys, I'm doing this because I care. Okay.
You know what? If you're going to do 3, I'll pay for 3. Let's do 6.
Woo! Yeah.
6 of you.
Let's go.
I'll pay for 3.
Yes. That's what's up. Okay. So now if any of you guys we're on the fence, you're like, oh man, that's going to be tough. 6 of you are getting all the upfronts paid for. So there's 0 excuse. Like, don't mess around.
I'll get those things to Emily so she can post them to know that we're making sure that they get done.
Yep. So I'll cover 3 of those, whatever that fee is. You're going to cover 3 of those, whatever that fee is, and let's get to work.
Cool.
Guys, any final questions for Tommy before we let him go? Everyone just is thanking you, and they love you guys. Do me a favor, give Tommy all the love, all the love, all the love. If you haven't signed up for the call, sign up for the call. Worst case scenario is we pay for you. Best case scenario is we pay all your upfronts, and you get yourself, thousands of dollars in credit, which would be like bananas.
Did we just accidentally give away $10,000 of a program?
I think we did.
Whoops.
Sorry, Steve. But you know what, guys, that's what's up, right? Like we got to give. Giving that's how you receive in life. You give. The universe doesn't do debt. Remember that. Tommy, you are a special man. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't leave these the way that I normally do. Tommy, for those of you that follow me, you all know that I believe in God. I believe in our Creator, and I believe that everything and anything that we do in life happens because our Creator is collaborating with us. If we collaborate with our Creator, and that's why I like to end these in a prayer. Now, for any of you that are not interested in hearing a prayer this morning, no problem. There's a button you can press here. You can leave. None of us will even know. But I want to just love on Tommy. I want to pray for Tommy. I want to pray for all of you guys that need it today. So for any of you that like to join us, I'm going to end it in a prayer. All right? Here we go. Father God, we love you so much, Lord. Thank you for today. Thank you for opening all of our eyes and giving us breath to be able to be here to learn from Tommy and all of the things that his team at Prime Corporate can do for us to help us gain, to help us provide liquidity to our businesses and understand better concepts, higher concepts on how to navigate and maneuver our businesses. God, we are just so grateful for him and his team. And we ask that you bless him. Lord, we ask that you make your purpose for each of our lives abundantly clear to us so that the steps we take are your steps, the words we speak, your words, the actions we take, your actions. God, for any of us that are on this call today that are in need of any physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual healing, God, we just pray for perfect healing in our lives. And Lord, for any of us that are in need of any additional clarity of any of the concepts that we are learning here to gain headway in our businesses, Lord, we are just asking for perfect clarity. And Lord, it is with humble hearts and in your heavenly name we pray today. Amen.
Amen.
Let's go. Let's go. Y'all are incredible. Thank you guys for spending an hour with us here today on a Friday. You could have been doing so many other things, but you're here caring about yourselves, caring about your businesses. Tommy, you are a jewel, bro. You are a jewel. So many people that I work with and that I talk to are just madly in love with what you guys are providing and the services that you guys give us. You're a partner. You're a friend. You're a brother. Thank you. Thank you for the time today.
Feeling so mutual. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate this community. Emily, thank you for texting me 86 times. I truly enjoyed this. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to rock. So happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, everybody. Love you, Emily. Love you, Tommy. Goodbye, everyone. Mwah! Have a great day.